Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host Frank Pacino and my partner in crime James Hanson. Amanda is on a work retreat. I guess that's what you can call it.
Yeah.
So she is out of town. So it's just gonna be me and James talking about Survivor 43, episode 4. But before we start to get into that, please give us a like, subscribe. Means a lot to us. Join any of our podcast locations: YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, and follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group. It'll mean a lot to us. But overall, what'd you think of the episode as a whole?
Uh, it was okay. I mean, we didn't see as much camp life, obviously, as the first couple episodes because we just didn't have as much time. Plus, we did have the reward challenge, but I mean, they did get through the reward challenge fairly quickly, and then the immunity challenge started by I watched on Paramount Plus and watched it today, but by the time it was at like 18 minutes, or 19 minutes in out of the 42 minutes, I think that's when the immunity challenge started. So they didn't bother me as much. They had too much time with it. It just it was just whatever to me, but I am glad we saw Coco go to tribal because uh we hadn't gotten as much from them, and it really just showed us a little bit more about the dynamics of what's really going on over there. So I think we needed to see them go, uh, just to get a good feel for. Now we have a good feel for every tribe, pretty much.
Right. I did think this episode had some great moments with it. We had a lot of we had the Ellie and Gabler argument. We had Cody going over to Coco and trying and bargaining with them for their things. We had Coco for go to its first tribal and we to see dynamics kind of play out and things happen that like surprised me a little bit, but it didn't at the same time. Um, and then from it's just like the challenges were fine, and then Bessie helping Baka out at the
That was
challenge.
interesting,
That was very interesting. We haven't seen that since Millennial versus Gen X.
and it could be foreshadowing too, because I feel like they put a pretty big emphasis on that. So I mean, maybe we do eventually see those two tribes coming together at the merge. So
I just
that'll be
feel like
interesting.
going into the merge, the Baka tribe's gonna be in the best spot.
It could be.
Because think about it, Vessie's gonna be or Coco's gonna be upset with Vessie, and then turn around, Bessie's probably gonna have to go after Coco because Coco's gonna come after them, and then Baka is gonna be in the middle, be like, they can go either way, and they could swing either way. I I have 2 players on that tribe, so if a winner come from that tribe, that'd be cool, um, for my fantasy team, but, I feel like that could happen, but who knows? I feel like that was interesting. I don't think we ever seen somebody like 2 tribes that never, like, swapped or anything happen like that before, where another tribe outright helped another tribe that, like, wasn't, like, a swap tribe.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm not really sure why either, but I mean, maybe the uh, the Vasi tribe could have Vessi tribe could have gotten a little bit weary because they went and raided Coco's Beach and took stuff from them. So maybe they thought that like they're not going to be happy with us regardless. So we might as well just help this other tribe that's already lost once as well and team up on the team that hasn't been to tribal yet. So I mean, I think that's probably why, but it was
Yeah,
definitely interesting, and I we haven't seen that in a long time.
yeah. So, what'd you think of their choice by going over after Coco's stuff? So Vessi wins the reward challenge. Which before we get to that part, this has never been a thing. But they traded for the last reward instead of taking the fish. So they took the
Yeah,
fruit. And Jeff's like, "Oh yeah, that's always been a thing. Since when, Jeff? Jeff, when has this been a thing? I've
yeah,
never seen another season happen. Like, all you gotta do is say, yeah, starting forward, going on a new era, we can do that." Okay,
I've
that's
seen
fine.
him. I've seen them bargain with him, but I've never like that's never always been a thing. I feel.
No, and sometimes he doesn't give a no, you know what, so he don't
Yeah.
care. He's pretty harsh on some of these people, and so, like, it was just kinda weird when he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, we'll just trade it out." Like, "Yeah, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it." But what'd you think of, Bessie Strat they were talking about going to Coco, and Cody wanted to take their machete. If you were on that tribe, what would have been your strategy going into stealing one of the another tribe's something, anything?
Uh, I would have gone straight for the fishing gear, but I also would have made it pretty clear that like we're gonna make this decision together. It's not gonna be uh, Cody who just goes over there and makes an executive decision on himself, which but by himself, which is basically what happened. Like he even said that in his confessional. So I'm not really sure if like they had all off the camera totally agreed that's what they're going to do, or if they kind of just sent Cody and let him do his thing. I definitely would have liked to come to a consensus if I was out there and all agreed on something to get. I think going for fishing gear would be the right move, though.
Yeah, I feel like look, how many people are left? We got 9, we got 14 people left.
Yeah,
And ideally the merges have been around 12, right? So there's
yeah,
2 more rounds, and this fast pace of a game, that means there's like 4 more days.
yeah.
Stealing somebody's machete with 4 days left really isn't gonna do like, I mean, I guess so, I guess it'll impact them, but, like, benefit yourself, get more food for yourself instead of trying to hurt another tribe. I just thought it made less sense to go to Coco's tribe, and at the time, they had the most people on a tribe. So you create an enemy with the tribe that had the most people on the tribe by stealing their lesser fishing gear to Baka's. Like if you go to Baka and be like, "Look, we need the fishing gear," and you take the fishing gear, Baka's not gonna be mad. Nobody's
No.
gonna be mad at that. But but what they did was go to Coco. They felt targeted by getting their fishing gear, because they Baka had the better fishing gear. So I thought that was a bad play by all of them. And then the way Cody handled it, I thought
Yeah,
was funny and great TV. It was very entertaining. But as a player, I wouldn't have done it
it
myself.
wasn't very smart as a player. I think look, if I'm out there, I'm at all cost avoiding being the one who has to go over. But Cody seemed to be all about it, and not only did he kind of come across as an ass, like the way he requested for things, he also just I don't know, like I feel like he could have gotten what he got without coming off as like arrogant or cocky. He could have said, "Listen, we've been suffering really bad," and just been a like nice guy about it. Instead, he kind of was rubbing it in a little bit. I feel.
Yeah, and the way he handled it, like, look, we know who the head honcho of Coco is, and that's Carla. And he rubbed her the wrong way. They made a point to put that in the confessional and said, I didn't believe him. I think people folded against him. I didn't buy his bullshit and yada yada yada. So if you're gonna make anybody mad, making the person who's running the tribe mad is not the best ideal going into a merge. And look, the last 2 seasons, the one of the so the pre-merge, the last 2 winners combined have gone to 1 tribal council. So it's shown that voiding tribals early has been beneficial with this new era of Survivor so far. So if we're looking at it like that, this one's been pretty balanced with the 5-5-4 now. But, what last season we really had, Jonathan just dominate the pre-merge, and they only went to 1 tribal, but after that, they didn't touch another one. And then you had the other blue tribe on 41 who never went to tribal.
Yeah,
So it's just like there's been tribes that dominated these pre-merge challenges the last 2 seasons. I wonder if there's going to be some like one of these tribes to tank the next 2 episodes.
Yeah. I think it's pretty balanced, especially since I think Vessi's problem in the challenges are the two people, Justine and NECA, are both gone. So I think they're in a good position to win challenges going forward. And then, I mean, Janine is tiny, but if they can just hide her in a challenge a little bit or sit her every other challenge, like she sat this immunity challenge, they're also very much a physically strong tribe. So I think Coco could be in trouble again. Like even though they won the first 3 challenges, I really going in that kind of surprised me because I did think they would be the weakest tribe at the start of the season, and I could see them if there's 2 more tribals before the merge. I definitely see them going once probably, and then if uh, Baka goes the other time, then we'll have 4-4-4, and that'll be very interesting if that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, look, ideally that's what we'd get. Be like a 4-4 first split and be like how each tribe's gonna manage this. Who's gonna stick strong? Who's not? Are there gonna be 2 tribes voting together against one other tribe? Like it would have be interesting to see if something like that happens. And poor NECA, it's sure looking like they get rid of her and they just dominate challenges. They won the last 2, so
Yeah.
uh I yeah, I just felt bad for her.
Yeah, I
And
did
so
too, but I feel like they did make the right decision because basically it's without the swaps now, it's all about keeping your tribe strong for this
mhm.
whole pre-merge portion, and that's a little more old school Survivor than what newer school Survivor kind of became. So I feel like with that regard, we get a good mix of old school and new school gameplay.
So like all right, let's just talk about this new era of Survivor. How do you feel about it? 2.5, 2.25 seasons in right now. Do you hate it, love it, indifferent, or just right in the middle with it?
I'll say anywhere from right in the middle to indifferent. Uh, I don't love the no swap thing. I think that gets kind of stale. I think by like the third or fourth episode, maybe we should see a swap. Maybe even like if there's 14, you swap into 2 tribes of 7 or something like that.
Or
Or at
just two
15, you swap
rounds?
into 3 tribes of 5. Or yeah, like it'd be interesting. And I don't love the beware advantage either. The summits are okay. Like I feel like the twists are basically like kind of predictable. I won't say the game is that predictable, but I although they did switch it up a little this season, like they don't have any of the stupid phrases that you have to say or anything, which I like. But I feel like the twists are kind of predictable, but they're also not too overpowering. Like from maybe the early 30s to like around Winners at War, I think the game was starting to get a little too idle heavy, especially in certain seasons. So at least we don't have that. That's why I'm a little bit indifferent. I don't love some of the twists, but I do like that they're not super overpowering.
Yeah, so I think the only thing I really don't like about this new era of Survivor is that we don't need a summit all the time. We didn't get one this episode. And I just don't like some of the twists they did, like the hourglass twist. Please don't come back this season. We'll see. I don't think it's going to, but please, God, no.
Yeah, if the
Uh,
the rumors are right online, which they usually tend to be with that kind of stuff, I don't think we'll see that, which is good.
or the do or die. That thing can die.
Yeah.
Get rid of those 2 things, and I'll be happy. I feel like does the swap. I feel like a swap doesn't need to happen every season. Like I think it'd been a fun change of pace of doing maybe every other season. We're doing swaps, or how about back to back seasons? Like how 41 and 42 had no swap. Maybe 43 and 44 have swaps, and then go back to no swap, and just switch it up every now and then to keep the game fresh. Um, and I feel like I'm tired of seeing three tribes. I would like to see two tribes at some point. I feel we've done it 3 seasons in a row now. I like to alternate. Um, please go back to two tribes next season. That'd be ideal.
Yeah, and it just sucks with the small tribes. There's nowhere to hide, and if you aren't as good at challenges, you're at a huge disadvantage essentially. So like the two tribes allow you to build relationships with a little bit more people. There's more options. So
Right,
I
right.
mean, feel like there's more relationship building there, or more potential for relationship building, because you could just get on a tribe with 6 people and just immediately, I don't know, say there's only like 1 or 2 people you really connect with, and automatically there you're just at a disadvantage. So
Right.
I would rather see the two tribes, but I think at least if you're going to start with 3, uh, swap into 2 at some point.
Yeah, I agree. I think a swap at 14, which they are at right now, into two traps would be so interesting to see. It'd be so fun to see. And we haven't had it in 2 seasons, and it's been like 2 years since we've seen a try swap.
Yeah,
So yeah, it would have been fun. I think if you're gonna do the three tribes, um, I don't think we need three tribes every season. And if you're gonna do the three tribes, add a little bit difference. Like have 21 people and have 7 people on each tribe
yeah.
or something like that. Or instead of having the same number, the same amount of tribes, it's just like, yeah, it just that needs to change. But I'm pretty in the middle. I didn't mind 41. You didn't like 41. I really enjoyed 42. I feel like this season has some good things going for it. It's hard to decide right now what the season is because like we haven't seen the most important part of the game, and that's the merge yet. Once the merge hits, if the merge is dominated by like 5 people and it's just a begonging or something like that, then it would be like okay, this season kind of sucked. But if we get a season like 42 where things flipped on people, things were fluid and worked pretty well with each other, like a gameplay like that, then it could go down as another really good season. So, um,
See, and I could see that being the case too. I think 40, 42. Once it got to the merge, the tribes didn't matter.
no,
They all were playing for themselves enough where they completely threw that out of the equation. And there was a lot of new relationships formed and good alliances the rest of the game that were people that didn't connect earlier on. So I think that will be interesting to see. But I could totally see that happening here.
right. So let's wait and see. I feel like that we didn't have no flashbacks this episode, which I'm good. I'm glad that we had enough the last. I think they should have stopped at 2 episodes, but 3 episodes okay. You got enough flashbacks. We got enough backstory of these characters. Now let's see the characters interact with each other. We kind
Yeah,
of have a
and
feel for everybody now.
so I guess did they give Lindsay one of the first 3 episodes, or no?
No, I think she was the only one that got one, right?
The
She didn't
only one
really.
that didn't get one?
I don't know if she got one or not. Did she get? She didn't get one this episode, right?
No, she didn't. I said, did she
Okay.
get one of the first 3?
I don't think so.
Okay, because that's when I thought, like, when she was all paranoid, I thought they were about to do that, and then I was gonna be like, well, now we know who's going home. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Nope, we definitely didn't get one, which is good. I feel like we got enough backstory of the important characters. I feel like there's going to be throughout the season.
Yeah,
Like
that's
we
good
got
for the
enough.
first 2 episodes. After
Yeah,
that, we don't really need that shit, really.
right. The first 2 episodes, I think the third episode, if you have like one or two, then that's fine to fill out the rest of your cast. But like the bulk of your backstory and the character development should be like the first 2 episodes, and then we can get the interaction and then the gameplay and things like that. Um,
Exactly.
So we got a good sense of Ellie, we got a good sense of Gabler, we got a good sense of Sammy, Owen, um, Jesse, Cody. We didn't get to see Jesse even this episode. Um, really, so it's like we got a good sense of a lot of these people who probably going to be focal points throughout the season. That like Carla, we know Carla is going to be an important part. We got a lot from her, so it's just a lot of. I feel like they did something different for 42 and 43 this or 41 this season, and I didn't mind it at all. I just feel like they should have stuck to the first two episodes and now start the game. If they had a swap at 14, I would have loved it, but I don't. It's not going to happen.
It's yeah. And I saw did you see the next time on Survivor?
Yeah,
It looks like it's going to be a chaotic episode though, because you had Owen running around like he must have found something or got because they said everything changes now, and then
yeah,
I forgot which three. I know Jesse got the confessional for it, but him and two others from the other two tribes were going for some. They're going to the summit for something like I don't know. I think next week is when we could see the chaos come out. Really,
right. And I feel like every tribe that goes to tribal could be a chaotic vote. Depending on doesn't matter which tribe goes. Um, but okay, so let's just talk about Lindsay for a minute. What you think about Lindsay as a character and a player and her run on this episode?
Oh God! So before that all happened, I thought Lindsay was going to be in an excellent spot. I thought she was smart. Uh, she wasn't going to be targeted early. She's at least decent in the challenges. She's very nice. She's likable. And then after they lost that challenge, all my confidence in that just completely went out the window because at least the way the edit showed it, she just became paranoid for basically no reason because of just being out on the island, maybe starving, just having to go to tribal for the first time. Because as far as we know from the edit, she was not the vote. It was either going to be Geo or it was going to be Cassidy, and it was probably going to be Geo. And then when Lindsay got all paranoid, we saw uh, basically almost everyone else say like especially James and Carla who were really with her, and I think probably in the two best positions on that tribe say like I don't know if we could keep someone around because having someone who's paranoid in the long run is just not going to be good for like either of our
Right.
games. So
So her round and boot kind of reminded me of Justine's a little bit. How she went up to her person that she's supposed to be working with and said, "I don't know if I can trust you." And she kind of
yeah,
had a similar conversation with Carla and James, and it's just like James is like Carla and James are like, "Look, you're good. I don't know how else to tell you that you're good." And then she storms off, and as soon as she stormed off, Carla looked at James and was like, I almost want to vote her out. And James was like, let me handle it. And he went and had a conversation with her. And he was like practically begging her to believe him. And she just wouldn't. She was like arguing with him about it. And he's like, I don't know how else I'm supposed to tell you that you're good. It just, it was just, yeah, it was a mess for sure. Um, and I don't know what her thinking was. So it looked at first it looked like uh she was gonna vote with Cassidy, Carla, and James, and they were gonna vote Geo out. Geo went to Carla and Ryan and said, "Hey, we're gonna vote Cassidy out." And then he has a confessional, and I for sure thought Geo was going home after this confessional. I feel like I'm in control. I'm gonna tell him I'm telling him. I feel like the game's in my ballpark or something, and I'm telling people what to do, and they're just doing it. And I'm just like, oh, Gio's going home, and then it didn't end up being him.
yeah. So going into the tribal after all the Lindsay stuff, were you still leaning it was going to be Geo and not Lindsay?
No, so okay, I I felt like it was. I felt like the Lindsay was a small screen. I didn't think Lindsay was actually going to be the vote, but it ended up being so a little bit. I was a little
See, I
surprised.
did. once that happened, I knew she was probably going to be in
Yeah.
trouble, and I I thought like there's a chance it's going to be Geo, but deep down I'm like I don't think they would have edited out like this if Lindsay wasn't going to go home. So I kind of did actually think it was going to be her.
Yeah, I get that, but like when it's just like how often do they have a confessional of somebody saying, "Oh, I got this in the bag," or you know,
Yeah, that is also true, but
it
I
happens
feel like
all the
that might
time.
just be setting Geo up to fail
Yeah,
sooner rather than later cuz
right.
I don't think he's in a good spot at all
No,
anymore.
and he's really overconfident. They definitely got we got to see more of Coco, and really got to understand some of the characteristics of some of these people. Like Gio's really overconfident. Lindsay was super paranoid. Cassidy's pretty laid back, and it's James and Carla is going to be a duo to watch out for. I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
then
throughout the season,
Ryan is just invisible.
Ryan's just there. Yeah,
He's just there.
I did he even have a confessional
I
after
don't
the
think he had
challenge?
one tonight.
And he struggled during one of the immunity challenge or the
Yeah,
reward
so
challenge, and I was like, oh man. And then
yeah,
he
like
even
Cody and Sammy went like Chris Noble on that challenge. Like they were just knocking everything over. And then I wouldn't say Ryan, I guess he did okay, but he was significantly behind them. It wasn't no War Dog
the
performance. Like remember watching War Dog try to throw the
yeah. Yeah, I love War Dog.
he was hilariously bad at the challenges.
Yeah.
I could bring
Oh,
that up so many times because he just looks like someone that would be good at them, and he just
War
was
Dog?
terrible. War Dog,
Yeah, for sure. But
but
yeah,
yeah, Ryan's just there
Ryan's
for the
invisible.
challenges.
Yeah, Ryan's invisible. He really didn't get much of an edit, and I really thought that it really it was gonna come down to like 3 pairs. I thought Cassie and Lindsay was gonna be a pair. Carla and James are gonna be a pair, in which I thought Carla and James were the least likely pair. And then we get to and I thought Gio and Ryan was gonna be a pair. And I feel like the strongest pair is Ryan and Carla, or not Ryan and Carla, James and Carla. And I thought Cassidy and Lindsay were gonna be like this tight duo, and clearly not that tight.
See, I thought that Cassidy and Lindsay and James were a tight trio, and Carla was with them too. But I think Carla also had that connection with Ryan and with Geo, especially Geo, which put her ultimately like in a spot where she was never going to get targeted, which she's not going to get targeted on that tribe.
And with
But
the idol too, might I add.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it was the best move for James to Ed Cassidy to necessarily flip on uh Lindsay if they wanted an ally in the long run. But once she told James and Carla that she doesn't know if she could trust them, that really sealed her fate, I feel.
Yeah. I feel like it was a great move for Carla.
It was fine. For Carla, it's fine. For
Yeah.
James, I don't know if it was his best move.
No, I agree there. I think
Or Cassidy.
I think for Carla and James, it would Carla and or James and Cassidy, it was a questionable move. But for Carla, it was the perfect move. Now she's more solidified with James, and James doesn't have like a backup plan. And I feel like look, we don't know who had that conversation with her, but I feel like Carla had the conversation with Cassidy, who got her to vote for Lindsay. Just my hunch,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they did have the little
100%.
conversation about how I can't handle this, and then she's like, yeah, yeah. And she has a relationship with Gio and Ryan, so she really could go either way, no matter what the outcome is on that tribe. She will never go home, I don't think. So
That's why, like, you did say, like, I think Gio will be next, but you said whoever goes on that tribe next is going to be blindsided ultimately.
yeah, and I feel like I said, like I feel like Carla's gonna have like a Suri type run, who's gonna have
She's
a
the she's the first 4 episodes MVP, I think, so far.
As a player, yes. As a
Yeah.
character, I think Cody is.
Yeah, Cody's gotten the most screen time and he's popped the most
Mhm.
and he's the most entertaining. But as a from a strictly social and strategic standpoint, I think Carla is ultimately in the best position. I mean, if the other two tribes come together and target that tribe and they stay strong, that ultimately could hurt her. But I mean, she does have an idol. She is locked in with the people on her tribe, and her social game is good enough where I feel she's going to be able to build some more connections at the merge with people from the other tribes. So yeah, I could see it. I definitely think she can make a run.
Right. So we'll see. But yeah, Lindsay got blindsided. I think Gio only voted for Cassidy just in case of a shot in the dark or
I
something.
was just going to ask that. I was like, so do you think they left Geo out of that to
No.
kind of diminish his ego and thinking that he has all this power, or do you think he did it solely for shot in the dark
I think he
purposes?
did it solely for the shot in the dark.
I do too,
The
but
way
like we never
the
really got. We won't find out until next week,
right.
probably.
The way the next episode showed, it looked like Gio felt super confident and that he was in the right spot. So if he felt super confident, he knew about the vote.
Yeah,
So that's just my 2 cents into it. So I think Gio just did just in case of a shot in the dark or idle play. And if there's an idle playing and he knows you're receiving a vote, like you got to throw a vote on somebody else.
yeah,
So
and I mean, it's not totally like I don't know. It's dumb to not make it unanimous when you definitely couldn't. Like, I still consider this unanimous if he was just throwing his vote uh, because of a shot in the dark possibility. So, like, there's no reason to not include Geo if, like, just for the hell of it. Because, I
right.
mean, it's better to have everyone on the same page besides the person who's going home the first time you go to tribal, I feel like.
Right. And I look, he was probably told, "Hey, you're receiving a vote. Lindsay's voting for you. We should vote for Lindsay." And so he's like, "You know what? I gotta vote for Cassie just in case a shot in the dark
Yeah.
or idols play because he has no idea where the idol is. He doesn't realize Carla has it. Nobody
Yeah.
does. And that's one thing that she has over everybody. I think this is the first person who's had an idol. Oh, I guess Mary Ann had an idol and didn't tell nobody. But the last couple of seasons, everyone knew where all the idols were pretty much. So
So has no one found the Beware on Yellow Tribe yet?
nope, I think that's what
That's
Owen's gonna find
crazy
next
to
week.
me.
Yeah, it is crazy.
You think Owen's gonna find it next week?
Yeah. And
That's
that's
what
why
it looked like.
and that's what's gonna change it because he's not gonna have a vote.
So you don't think he's gonna be able to get the
I feel like he's gonna tell Sammy and they're gonna panic about it. Instead of
yeah.
figuring it out, instead Carla sat down and was like, I'll come up with the plan, and she came up with the plan and she did it. They're gonna be like, bro, what are we gonna do? You're gonna lose your vote. We're not gonna have our vote at tribal. What are we gonna do? It's gonna be 2-2. What are we gonna do?
So that just I'm almost certain of this, but I just want you to clarify because you probably know more. That idol is good like till final six or whenever they expire, correct?
The Beware?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a full on idol.
Yep. The only one
Okay.
so we didn't discuss this, but I feel like how Noel got a steal vote and Gabler got idol. I feel like the more people who risk it, the better the advantage is.
Yeah, because Gabler Noel's advantage is way better than Gabler's. Like Gabler, I believe
I
even
know.
if
I think
he doesn't go, so say Baca doesn't go until the merge. I believe Gabler's advantage would his idol would still be good for that merge tribal,
Mhm.
which could be big, but after that it's completely powerless. So
Yeah, I see. I feel like his idol is more important, to be honest, because it's the idol, no matter
yeah.
how long the time is. But that's why I think if three of them risked it and one person gets it, I feel like it's gonna be a full-fledged idol.
So you think the next one could be a full fledged idol?
No, I feel like if all three of them risk it,
Oh, okay.
I feel like if one risk it, it'll be another steal vote. If two of them risk it, it'll be temporary, and if three of them risk it, it'd be a full. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, great. Yeah. I see. I like. I like Noel's advantage better than Gabler's because it's good for longer. I
I,
just think if you're a good enough player and that idol's only good for 2 rounds, like it's not that powerful. Maybe for Gabler he's gonna need it, but for some of them they wouldn't need it.
Yo, and before he almost looked like he was gonna die on the immunity challenge with the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
I feel like you might be right that it might be a
I'm
bounce back
telling
for him.
you, I'm like 50-50. Like it could happen anytime in the game, but they are very much very much making us aware how much he's struggling out there.
Yeah. So,
Like his
what
you
do you
got
think of
Janine who's like 90 pounds who's
dude?
holding up better than he is.
Yeah, soaking wet. I how do you feel about Gabler putting the palm fronds on Sammy
He's
while he was
just
sleeping?
dumb. Like
I'd be low key pissed. Like, you know
I
how
would be
hard it is
so
probably.
annoyed.
Yeah, you know how hard it is probably to fall asleep out there and you're sleeping and you get waking up like someone throwing fucking a branch on you.
Yeah, I will freaking wake up about 5 times a night in my bed at my house in the middle of the night. I can't imagine how many times it would happen out there and how hard it'd be to fall back asleep. Like I'd be super annoyed. Yeah.
I'd be super pissed. Yeah, it was just
And
uh
it's the little things like that you just can't be doing, like basically.
yeah. And I feel like if he didn't have the idol, he'd probably be for sure the next boot. Like, I think that tribe would be the most chaotic tribe if they or that or Vessi. I guess I don't know. I'm very excited because I feel like the next tribal is going to be a fun, exciting tribal, no matter where we go.
Yeah. I mean Vessi we'll see. I feel like Noelle is gonna use her extra vote or steal a vote the next tribal.
But the problem is Cody has the idol.
Yeah, so that like you that's why you said last week, and I agree with you. I think it was a bad move for Jesse because
Mhm.
he could be vulnerable just for that reason. Because Noel's not going to vote for Dwight.
Right. And then I guess Dwight might be or Noah. So I guess I don't know, depends. So if this let's say Noel steals Cody's vote. Um and they put all three on Cody. And then and they go to a revote. I don't think Cody gets his vote back. So it'd be 2 votes for Noel and 1 vote for Dwight. And I feel like Jesse could go home there. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just it's hard to say. Um,
I think based on the preview that Jesse's going to the summit
mhm.
next week.
He could risk his vote and get
So
something.
if he gets something, that could be an all time like just madness tribal
Man,
council.
this tribal council. Can you imagine if he gets another temporary idol and they two play idols? Noel plays a steal vote, steals Cody's vote. It just could be such a mess.
Yeah,
It could be
totally.
3. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm very excited for next week's episode because it could be it could be a really good tribal an episode. And I feel like they're building up Gabler and Allie's headbutting a lot more. So I feel like they're going to be the Clash of the Titans on their tribe for a while.
Yeah, well, the Gabler is automatically safe the next time they go, though. So,
Can you imagine if he doesn't play the idol and gets voted out?
or if they convince him to play it for someone else and gets voted out, I think that'd be
Oh,
even funnier.
that would be awesome.
He would
But
cement himself as like one of the worst players to play Survivor. I think if that happened.
mhm. Yeah, it would be it would be something for sure. I just can't imagine him getting away with it. But I like I just wish Survivor was 90 minutes. They put 90-minute episode. If they want to do the 2 challenges and they added another like think about like 15, 20 minutes of camp life of like we've hardly got anything from Bessie this episode. And that's the problem with the three tribe format. I feel like one tribe always has a lackluster episode. Even though they won 2 challenges and they won the reward, that's all we got from the camp life.
Yeah, and then what they were gonna do about like stealing from the other camp. That's basically it.
That's it. Yeah. So it just like the extra 30 minutes would just be huge. And it'd be like 15, 20 minutes for besides commercials. So I don't know. I just feel like as I just don't know why Survivor hasn't. It always leaves stuff on the cutting room floor, and it always like even if they put an extended episode on Paramount Plus, people would watch the hell out of that.
I mean, me and you would watch 3-hour episodes if they had them.
Yeah, we watch it on. Dude, I was begging, like it just baffled my mind for Winners at War that all the Edge content could have been on Paramount Plus. All
Yeah.
that Edge all that Edge of Extinction stuff could have been put on Paramount Plus, and people would have watched it. I would have watched it, even though I hated Edge of Extinction. And then instead of taking up the game and the TV time for the game on the people who are still in the game, you could have got all that content on Paramount Plus. I feel like Survivor is not using all the resources it could be using.
See, yeah, like I feel like with Big Brother, there's too much content. It's just the same shit at some point, and then with Survivor, it's just not enough. Like 60 minutes in a week is just not enough to gauge like what's happening totally.
Right. Especially like if they're gonna do 2 challenges, like the extra 15, 20 minutes could just make so much more sense of what's going on. Cause
Yeah, and I mean if like they also could have basically, like you said earlier, they're gonna do 3 tribes, start off with 21, and why weren't the first episode was 2 hours, the second one was an hour and a half, and they only had one person go home in each episode, which
right.
if they start with 21, say you have a double right out of the gate and then maybe another double within the first 5 or 6 boots, like it could do a better job of pulling people in.
Yeah, I feel like they have all these chances to use it. Like I'm not gonna lie, I would love an unedited version of Survivor, like no cuss
Like
words,
live feeds.
like no bleep out. So I know you didn't watch it, but so CBS The Challenge did this. They had the TV version play on TV, but if you watched it on Paramount Plus after the fact, it had none of the swear words bleeped out. So you heard all the
Oh,
F
really?
bombs and everything like that. So Tyson was just going up a storm in his
If
confessionals.
I watch that now, will it be the TV version or the Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus version.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So like I would love that for Survivor.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to make out with all the bleeps and stuff like that. Like we don't like come on. Just like they could be doing so much more with some like Survivor's their longest reigning show, right?
Yeah.
So like I feel like for it being the longest reigning show, they could be doing so much more for it, and it is they don't. It just baffles my mind a little bit.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I mean, there's so much more content they could have, but I guess with it just being not a show that's happening live like Big Brother, there's only so much they could do with it. But I mean, the other thing is too, like, what are these other shows like Love Boat Island? Like, no one's watching that shit.
No
either.
one's watching that. Yeah, people are barely watching the Amazing Race.
Amazing Race anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you like that show or not?
The Amazing Race? It's all right. It's okay. Like if
I could never. I used to watch it a little like my family as a kid, but I could never really get into it.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's many other things I'd be watching before it. So who was your top 3 in the power rankings right now going into episode? I think last week you had what? Carla. No, Amanda had Sammy. You had Carla. Didn't you have Cody?
Yeah, I had Cody.
And then
I think I had Noel.
or Noel, and then I think you had one from each tribe, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah, I think I had Owen actually. Just
Okay, yeah. So is your top three still the same?
it's the same, yeah.
Still the same?
Yeah.
Uh I feel like I think I had Cody in there. I think I had um I don't think I had Sammy. I think I no, I had Owen. I did have Owen. I had Owen, Cody, and Carla, and I feel like those are the top three still for me. Um, only for the fact that Cody's getting so much screen time, he's definitely not going anywhere. Um, and that just Carla is just playing by far the best, I believe. And I think Owen found himself in a little sweet spot, and it looks like he's gonna find himself an idol on top of that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the way
I
I
do
think.
think one thing I will say is I think I mentioned it in previous weeks too, but I think Sammy has proven me a lot more than I thought he would. I think he's got a pretty good mind for the game. He's kind of goofy. Like, did you see him doing the gritty after they? Did you catch
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
After they won the challenge, which was
yeah.
funny. But I don't know. He seems like a goofy character, but I just find myself liking him a lot more than I thought I would.
Hmm.
Which I do. He's not someone like I thought I was gonna like at all, and he seems very likable to me, at least.
Yeah, I was higher on Sammy than everybody else in
Yeah,
season draft, and that wasn't very high. I didn't think he was gonna be as good as he is. Don't get me wrong. I just thought he was gonna make it to merge. He was a big, strong guy. He was gonna make it to merge, and I was looking for value there, and he has exceeded my expectations. And I just can't. I really hope he makes a deep run so I can look at Real and tell him to suck it. Um, and I feel good about my draft. Everyone's still left in my draft, and I think you're down to one pick.
I'm down to Owen, which I'm riding all in on. I think he's got a good chance, but my other two picks were flops, and I'm just gonna say it going forward. You never want to pick first in these fantasy drafts for anything.
I
Because
think
I
what
had it for Big Brother 24 also, and I got Amira, and then I think uh, Pooch, and then I think I ended up with Jasmine
yeah,
as my
yeah.
one who made it the furthest, which was sad.
I had the winner of Big Brother 24, and I picked Taylor first, and I think it was the third pick.
Yeah, you were
Uh,
up there. I was considering her too. I just went with the
yeah,
hometowner with potential based off of that. Like I do put a lot of who I want to root for also based on like
mhm,
picking some of the drafts, but picking first is horrible if especially
yeah.
if you're taking
Uh,
that
I, I,
approach.
Taylor's from Michigan, so I was rooting for that, and I
Yeah,
just liked their preseason. Um, Now, yeah, I was happy. I picked the last two winners of Big Brother. I wasn't so lucky with Survivor. I think 41 I picked Ricard. I didn't win that, obviously. 42. Who did I pick?
Chanel. That's who I
No.
picked. Like
Was it-
basically just not for our draft, but just if I had to just a choice of anyone, I think that's who I had.
maybe I picked Chanel. In
Who did I
hindsight,
have
that's
for
not good.
41? Oh, 41 I had Deshaun. So I had
Okay.
Deshaun and Chanel the last
And the,
two.
yeah, I had Ricard in 41. I remember that. I don't remember exact. I think it was Chanel, but I could be
I'm
wrong.
trying to think who I think yours was Chanel too, if I could
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
So not so hot with the Survivor. My winner pick is still in this season, so I'm hoping that she can
Wait,
somehow get
is
out
that
of it before
Ellie?
she Ellie.
Yeah,
Yep.
mine was Owen, so I still have that.
Yeah. And boy, was your team looking rough the first episode.
Oh my god. God.
I was like, oh man, his number one pick. And you weren't the only one who picked Owen number one. Owen was a consensus number one for a lot of
Yeah.
people. Not for me, but by a lot of people he was.
I had a strange like very good run of predicting winners or
Yeah.
close to it. Because all right, I either had the winner or someone who got very far. Like, I think it was 4 seasons in a row. I think for 36, I had Dom, who got second. And for 37, I had Nick, who won. For 38, I had Rick Devens, who almost won. And then for 39, I picked Tommy, who won. So I
Yeah.
had a really good run.
Yeah. I really only started picking winner picks the last few seasons, so
Since the podcast, yeah.
pretty
I
much,
always
yeah.
did with my brother and stuff. Like, we would talk about it, and I would say who
Yeah.
I think is going to win.
I didn't get into like my Survivor fandom, like preseason hype. Like I never watched any of the preseason interviews or anything until Survivor Winners at War. Was my
Okay.
first season. I really like got into it. To be honest with you, I didn't realize they did all those interviews until around then. Like a lot of people. So I watched Survivor for a few years, but like the only people I knew that watched Survivor was my aunt and Mariah, my wife. So like I like not like like in my real life, a lot of people I know don't watch Survivor
Oh, most of my friends do not watch it either.
or Big Brother.
I've
So
gotten a few like into it or back into it. Like my uh co-manager at work, my the owner's son, Gunner, like I got him real into it, and like him and his roommate and his fiance, like they all watch it now, and like I really got them back into it. And then I got one of my brothers who stopped watching for a while, and my mom who stopped watching for a while back into it. But yeah, like it was, I did get away from it for a while, but it was growing up like in from like I remember like season 2 to like a little bit after Winners at War. It was something I watched every week, but like I was too young to be like really understand like how to play the game and stuff.
right.
I liked the characters, but the one person I always knew that I never liked that everyone loved was fucking Rupert. And I didn't even like him as a freaking third grader when I saw him like the first time.
Yeah. So, but I mean, all right. So I think that's about ends it up. You want to add anything about the episode before we get out of here?
Not really. Like I said, I liked that Coco went. That way we saw what was going on there. I did like Lindsay, and she just kind of shot herself in the foot. So I was a little sad to see her go. And I mean, it sucks that the first four booted were all women, but I will say, but aside from Mariah, I think that they all kind of did themselves in.
Right.
So
I feel like Morai was kind of unjustified voted out.
that was the only one. Yeah.
The other three, I feel like they had legitimate reasons to vote them out. Justine,
Very legitimate.
you can't look at somebody and say, "Look, I have a good lying face," and you expect someone to trust you after they say that you say that to them, and
See,
then
and the Survivor community is a lot less toxic than the Big Brother fandom because if this happened on Big Brother, we'd just be seeing nothing about how like sexist the show is and all this and all that. And
look, I feel like I hate the term "bring back old Survivor," and I'm like, what do you mean by "bring back old Survivor"? Because like old Survivor, which we are rewatching, like is some of them are fine, but Marquesas is not a top 10 season. Like would you put it top 20?
yeah, barely.
Yeah, so like Marquesas is a fine season. Australian Outback's not sniffing the top. Borneo is just a hot mess, but it's a fun mess. So like, are you talking about that old Survivor? Are you talking about early 30s Survivor? Late 20s? Like it's just like this show's so long. I don't when people I hate the term bring back old Survivor.
Yeah, like what exactly do they mean by that? We
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah, and then I hate when they say the two more challenges. That's exactly the least amount of things we need. We do not need more challenges in Survivor. And when people say that, I'm like, you're watching the wrong show if you're watching the show for the challenge because the challenges have mounted to nothing since the inception of the game.
Yeah.
And now, because the first winner of the game one less amount of immunities than this runner-up. Number
Yeah.
2, season 2, Colby dominated most of the immunity challenges. He did not win the game.
Ethan didn't win many challenges.
Ethan didn't win many challenges.
He won one,
Yeah.
maybe 2.
Vecepia, I think, only won 1 immunity. So it's just like, you look like, how many times has immunities like that person deserves it because they won a bunch of immunities? Not very often.
No, and I think the times where
Fabio.
Yeah, the times where people who did win a lot of immunities end up winning the game, they either were sitting next to someone who was awful, granted Brian Heidick or Jenna or Fabio, someone like that. They're either sitting next to someone who's awful, or in addition to winning the immunities, they also played a great strategic and social game where, like, Tom Westman, yeah, he dominated most of the challenges, but I also think Tom was in control, like, socially, like, that entire game. So,
Yeah.
like, they didn't just vote for him to win because of the immunities.
Correct.
So no one's ever won the game
Mike Holloway
solely because they won challenges.
Maybe Fabio, Mike Holloway.
Yeah, but I argue, like, I don't think Mike should have won, but the Fabio final 3 was so bad, like that. It was so terrible.
But like it's just like, do I really need to see them celebrate a reward? Challenge that a tarp. Do I have to really see them win a tarp and celebrate the tarp for 5 minutes and be like, never be brought back up ever again? No, I don't need to see that. It could be one challenge. And when people say we need 2 challenges, you watch the show, you're watching the wrong show then, because this show's never been about challenges. And I seen a couple comments. This is all Facebook, my man.
Yeah.
A couple comments say, "Oh, it's all chitter chatting. That's all they're doing." I'm like, it's a social game.
Yeah.
It's a social strategy game. That's what you're supposed to do in the social strategy game, is chit chat and talk strategy. So, that's why it's like, when people say that, or like they say bring back the auction, like, the auction's never coming back. I'll just face that, it's not gonna come back. There's nothing to bring it back. Sadly, it's not gonna come back. Would I like it back? Yes, but it's not coming back. The gross eating challenges aren't coming back. Different locations are not coming back. 39 days probably won't come back. So it's just like, either learn to love this, watch the show and enjoy for what it is, or just stop watching. And I will die on the sword that says you would not know it's only 26 days if the show didn't tell you there's only 26 days.
See, I don't care about that at all. The one thing I do, I mean, I don't care that it's just in Fiji now, but I did like seeing the different locations.
Right, I agree. I think it was fun to see the different locations, and you get to see, like, them do rewards with the different cultures and things like that. That was always fun and cool. But Survivor hasn't been that for a very long time.
No.
So I just, like, when's the last time, like, they've been to Fiji for, like, the last, like, what, 15
Since
seasons?
33.
So yeah, 10 seasons now.
Yeah, and then even before that, like, so I think 31 and 32 were Koh Rong, which is Cambodia. And then I want to say every season from 19 to 30 was either Samoa, Nicaragua, or the Philippines. Like, even so, Survivor Cagayan's called Survivor Cagayan.
Yeah.
It was the same location they had in 25, 26, and I think 27. They're all in the Philippines. They just gave it a name of one of the islands there and called it Cagayan.
Yeah, so, like, Survivor hasn't been a location thing for a very long time.
No, not since Tocantins was the last one.
Yeah, and that was what? That was season 19?
18.
18. Oh, that's right. Samoa was 19. So it's just like, yeah, it's just like, look, let's just learn to love what we got. I just hate the term bring back old Survivor. I really do.
It's so stupid.
It's so dumb.
I don't understand because it's just people are complaining about nothing basically. They're just I don't even know what they're complaining about at this point. The
Right.
the fact that the 39-day thing bothers people so much, it's like if they
I
didn't
just
tell us, you would not even
you
know.
wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know if they didn't put day some so and so. You wouldn't even know what day it was. You wouldn't
Yeah.
even care which day it was. It's the same amount of immunity challenges, the same amount of tribals. It's the same amount. So the only thing that's different is instead of going to instead of having 39 days and having it be like, oh, it's a 39-day season, it's just 26.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just come on. Let's let it go. It's not gonna like I really don't care either way when they changed it. At first I felt some type of way, but after watching, I'm like, you really don't see a difference. So
Yeah. I will say
but
with the location thing, I think something that would have been awesome, even if it was temporary, is if when they couldn't film for that year during COVID, that they would have done it somewhere in the US, like for a couple seasons. Would have been so cool.
yeah, like where are you thinking?
Like Arizona or like
Texas.
yeah, somewhere like remote, just out in the middle of nowhere. I think that would
Las
have been cool. Like
Vegas.
Survivor the Wild Wild West or something like that. Would have been cool.
And then have like a little dust ball.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. But
But
all
and
right.
I mean, people brought it up, but I don't think it was ever going to happen logistically. But
Oh no, I don't think so either. It's just I don't think Survivor is gonna change that much. But
no,
can you
and
imagine
they
the uproar?
also with everything like how much money they can make from it, everything has to factor into. They were making, or it cost them so much less apparently to film in Fiji. The deal they have with like the island or something. So it doesn't really make sense for them to change locations either.
Look, they can make it for 13 less of the days.
Yeah.
That's less paying for the production crew, less less film they have to film, less they have to edit. You actually see more of the show this way because there's less days to edit away. So yeah, I think the 26 days is fine. If they just stop saying it's 26 days, just say it's 39 days and they just lie, they wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah,
But
and with the 39-day seasons, you're not even merging until day what, 21 or so some of
yeah,
the time.
right. And it's just like
So you're going to edit a whole pre-merge with 3 tribes in 21 days. Like how much are you going to be able to show anything really at that point?
right, right. And then yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm not like gonna die either way. Like I'm not willing to die on the hill and saying it must be 26 or it
It
must be
doesn't
39.
matter as
It
a
doesn't
viewer
matter.
though. It
It
does
doesn't
not
matter.
matter.
Matters
It,
is zero. It doesn't change nothing. But we went on a big tangent there. I think that about cover it. We kind of stopped talking about the whole episode, start
yeah.
just rambling on there for a bit. But thank you guys for watching. How do you feel about the new school Survivor? Do you think it's you think you're indifferent? Are you loving it, hating it? Let us know. Please give us a like, subscribe, follow us on all our podcasts and social media locations. It would mean a lot to us. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.